I'm not receiving any audio. I don't know if I'm being spoken to or not.
It's in the mixer.
Is it the same setup?
Yeah, all mine is doing is showing this up here. I mean, it should be like any other Zoom meeting.
But you're the one who live streamed, so you're the one who logged in. You were logged into Zoom and you went live.
Yep.
She should go log into Zoom.
No.
Hello?
Mr. Fusion, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can I ask you to mute yourself for a moment, please?
Yep.
So Zoom is working.
I've got YouTube on here, I can hear. And it's from before. It's like there's a delay.
Well, there's always a delay on YouTube from Zoom.
Entertainment is not our main focus. We're not looking to turn the restaurant into a venue. That is not something we're looking to do. Again, it is just to be able to have music that does not come from a speaker, but from a person who is performing it at the time. Might be great for our time.
I'm sorry.
What are your normal hours of business?
So currently, the business is closes at 9 and opens at 10 a.m. Sorry, give you that time. But we would like to extend the hours just for food ordering purposes, not for entertainment, right? So we can make pizza available for late night eaters.
Is that 7 days a week?
At the moment, the restaurant operates only 5 days a week, and we're looking to add a 6th day, which would be Sunday, and that would be closer to November, so we can coordinate it with the football season. So people can have football parties, can have food coming from our establishment.
So you basically, so you're saying is 9 p.m. would be the end of the day.
Yes, 9 p.m. would be, right now, the hours are 9 p.m. So if I was to add musicians tomorrow, which is the restaurant is closed, right? We will be done at 9 p.m. That is correct. However, we're looking to extend the hours, but I don't think that we would continue to have music later than 10 p.m.
So if we put a limit at 9 p.m., you could always come back and ask for it.
Could I ask the clerk a question in regards to the license?
Yes.
What is the victualling license? What time can they legally serve food until? Is there such a thing?
They're opening, all of them that they have a BB license, that's a commercial license. So they can keep their kitchen open the whole time.
Yeah.
And majority people are doing that until like midnight.
Right, so I feel uncomfortable limiting their hours, especially when he's trying to figure out what works. I don't see why we would do that since there's been no problems there, no issues there. And again, Marie is gonna be on site. I think you guys should have the opportunity to do whatever financially works. And we'll deal with it if there are any problems. That's my opinion. It's what your license allows you to do.
If I may interject also, 9 p.m. is just pre-COVID, post-COVID, I should say. So pre-COVID, I believe we were open until 10 p.m. and maybe 6 or 7 days a week. Right now, it's only 5 days a week, 10 to 9. And prior to that, as you said, in terms of from a fiscal standpoint,
We never had a problem with it.
Yeah, I see no reason to restrict your business licenses hours, that's for sure. I'm against that. And I'm not sure if you realize that was what you were asking. I bring that up. Your license allows you to do business up until the point you can. Now, entertainment, different story. Potentially, if there are problems, I don't think you should do it at 1 a.m. or whatever, but I don't know, 9 o'clock, you're serving pizza at 10 o'clock and somebody's playing a guitar.
Right.
I don't know.
we're thinking about jazz, acoustic, folk.
It's inside too, it's not.
Right,
outside.
exactly.
It's
And you
not-
don't have any residences above you.
No.
The closest is diagonal across the street, a building above the God shop.
Not only that, but bringing a drum kit or anything that takes away space from the dining room. That's how we make our.
I want to
Well,
give
they
you the
got
opportunity to do whatever your license allows and see if you are successful. That's my feeling. I don't want to reach you in any way.
No, all we're talking about is, we already gave them the liquor license, no restrictions, we're only talking about the entertainment license.
Right, and I don't want, if they can do what they want. If they were to say, I want you to make it for 9 o'clock, all right, I'm gonna vote against it. I'm saying that I would rather they figure out what works best with the clientele and bring in some late night people. I mean, you got the Galactic right down the road. He's trying to do what he can do. So why would we even think about limiting you? That's my opinion.
We also realize that it's been an establishment since 1976. We don't want to change that. We don't want to be, set ourselves aside from the Warren community. We want, if anything, we want to welcome the community. So from that standpoint, we're not looking at.
So, for the purposes of this entertainment license, are you, do you think you would like to schedule entertainment for Tuesday through Saturday nights? Or are you looking to do entertainment
Well,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
that is a great question. And what happens is that entertainment would be ideal to bring, say, a Wednesday night is much slower than a Thursday night. So maybe a Wednesday night would be a good opportunity for us to have, flamingo or something like flamingo, right? So I do not want to limit myself by saying I want to only do it on weekends because to my knowledge, the weekends, we want to dedicate them fully to our diners, right? And to feed as many people as possible, right? And get them fed and, turn them over. And I think that the music would be something that, or entertainment that we figure out as soon as we understand how the business operates. So in a way, it's secondary to the dining experience and something that we would look as a marketing effort and to increase revenue opportunities by bringing more people to see the entertainment.
What time does the entertainment have to stop at the Galactic?
I don't know.
Yeah, because that would,
I think it's pretty late.
Yeah, it's midnight.
Yeah, we had this
Not
issue
later,
with them
yeah.
getting out of there, remember that?
Yeah, it wasn't it was time of getting out of the bar.
Exactly.
But I don't, if there's any limit, it's 12 o'clock.
Something like
Why do we have to close any restrictions?
well, we don't have to, but if the Galactic has an end time on their entertainment, I think would makes sense to offer them the same options, not give them a later time. Or restrict them to earlier. So I'm just asking how many,
She just wanted to be comparable to what's there.
yeah, exactly.
So who knows that answer?
I've been there till 1 o'clock when I've had in the past, prior to COVID. They had like a band playing or whatever, I say till 1.
Yeah,
It wasn't closed for 12, I'm sorry. Midnight.
No, they've been open for 1, yeah.
Right, because I've been, I've been in
And
there
I
till
don't
1.
think there's a limit on that.
Doesn't anybody know what, you gave them the license over there?
Someone raised their hand, right?
Yeah, it's till 12 o'clock because they had to be out of there by 1. And if you remember, he
But we
came,
extended it.
exactly, he came
We
in
extended
and asked him because he was so
And we
busy,
extended his business opportunity to clean and be in the building.
Correct.
The entertainment is
up to 2 o'clock in the morning.
But his entertainment
But
stops.
everything else fell into the guidelines of midnight, you shut down the bar, the entertainment, and then you have time to clean up and do the bookkeeping and all that.
Okay.
Do you agree? Okay,
Not past 12.
all right. So you may have, so the entertainment license would, you could have your music or your comedy up until midnight. During your hours, whatever days you are open and operating. And you are aware of our noise ordinance as far as amplified music and, if there becomes a problem with neighbors or anything. That we can come back to us.
Motion approved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the entertainment license that would allow the White House Pizza to operate up until midnight.
Is this a public hearing? You have to close the public
Not
hearing.
really.
Now, pizza. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck. Best of luck. We'll see you around. Good luck, guys.
All right, so now moving to 7, which is a request for a mobile food establishment permit. This has been continued to June 8th. This is for the Dish LLC, of 56 Buckland Street in Providence. I noticed his name.
You have to let him
on the screen, as being with us on Zoom. Mr. Fussen, are you there?
Hello.
Hey,
Hello. I will, I have just announced your name and your business. You are looking for a permit to operate a local food establishment in the town of Warren. This has been continued since June 8th. I'll give you a moment to speak and then wait for our planner's signal that we can speak again. So go ahead.
My name's Stephen Fuson. I own and operate the Ish LLC. It's an Irish and Polish influenced food truck. Excuse me. I operate all over the state with PVD food truck events. And I was invited to a Warren Town concert, summer series concert. So I went ahead and applied for the permit, and here I am today.
Very good. Any members of the council have questions for Mr. Fuson?
I have no questions, Judge.
Mr. Fuson, did you hear our previous conversation regarding potential language amendment to our local food establishment ordinance?
I did not.
Okay. We are considering the possibility of adding language to our ordinance that might focus on who is working on a local food establishment in our town. And do you have a regular group of employees with you?
Yes, I do. Mostly my family works with me. It's like my younger brother and older sister.
Okay. We'd like to know that the people who are working within our community are respectful and working hard and doing no harm.
Yeah, my younger brother, he works also at a daycare part-time. And then my sister, she is a licenser for the state of Massachusetts. She well, I don't know if a licenser is the proper word. She helps file claims. So they're two upstanding citizens.
All right.
It's Cronin, do you really?
Yeah, really.
Well, I think you're out of line.
Thank you, Councilman Dickinson, for your use. Thank you for telling us about yourself. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Good luck,
Thank you,
Stephen.
Mr. Fuson.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's P8, request for a mobile food establishment permit. This is another continued from June 8th. Is Brenda Britt with us? From Super Duper Food Sales.
I just.
Doesn't appear to be.
All right. When was your last communication with her?
You had it yesterday. She said she would be on.
Okay. Let's move on to P9, and given the whole situation with the technical difficulties with YouTube and streaming, if she maybe tries to call in, we can revisit her application. Moving on to P9, this is a request for a Liberty Entertainment license, also continued from June 8th, from the D Golf Center. Is Jeffrey Dantes with us? Yes. Please do come forward.
Are you? You state your name and address for the record.
My name is Jeffrey Dantis. I live at 360 Woodland Avenue in Seekonk, and I own and operate the Golf Center at 326 Market Street.
Thank you very much. And what is it that you, what kind of entertainment are you planning?
Well, it's just going to be some acoustical guitar playing. We're going to do like a food truck Friday and invite some of the food trucks that had been approved by the town over on Fridays, just to bring golf as an entertainment. I filed for this permit at the beginning of the year, thinking that there was going to be an ice cream parlor and a mini golf establishment at the place that I am currently leasing. But I haven't seen any work done there in 3 weeks. So I still want to go ahead and apply for the permit. Still want to have the permit. I don't know currently what's going on at the other end of the property. And if it arises that I can buy the property, get it to be what I would like it to be, I still want to have the license approved.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Dantes?
The application on the agenda, it says Fridays from 2 to 8 p.m. I don't see that on the actual application. See that?
Yeah, Friday's too late.
Oh, there it is, Friday's 2 days. That's all you're looking for, is Friday's 2 days?
Yeah, I mean, we want to start small. You know, it is golf. We don't, you know, I want to find out what people want.
Well, you guys do the last couple of like 6:30, 7.
Well, currently right now, yes.
And I don't mean you guys, but then.
Right, our last is at 7 o'clock right now, simply because, again, I don't know what's going on with the lights. I don't know what goes on with that. I don't have control of those lights, for the driving range, because all the light switches are in the main building.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little slow right now. So 2 to 8 would be fine. Like I said, just to bring some type of fun to golf.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
been a lot of kids there. There's a lot of husbands with wives that are sitting around.
I was
just-
one of those husbands with the wife. There you go.
Yeah, just, you know, just something fun, nothing big, nothing crazy.
I'll make a motion to approve the entertainment license for, music on Friday for 2 days.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good luck.
Thank you.
And we can go back to P8, currently, Super Duper Food, Brenda Brick is on the line.
Hello? Yep, we can hear you. This is Super Duper. I heard you call me right after the ish, but you didn't hear me.
Oh, okay, and could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Brenda, come out here. We are a husband and wife team, Brenda and David Britt. We own a food truck called Super Duper Food Truck. We also do events all over the state. And we got a call from one of the performers at the Warren Music Festivals and asked us if we would come down, so we're applying for the permit.
Very good. Do any members of the council have questions for the Super Duper Food sales folks?
I have nothing.
How long have you been in business?
2.5 years. My wife is an executive chef for 17 years.
Oh, excellent.
So what's the name, Super Duper?
I like it. Bring it on.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
You
Thanks,
too.
you too.
All right. P11, moving forward. Request for a one-day entertainment and permission for consumption of alcohol outside under a tent. This is from Richard Jacobelli. The date of the event is August 28th. And it is from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Warren German Club. And it is a 50th class reunion, and the request is for a one-day or for 4-piece bands.
Mr. Jacobelli contacted me. He's unable to be here this evening. Gotten permission from the fire chief as well as the police chief. They see no problem with the application, and I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I think he had his council here and he ready to speak for him, but we don't want to echo. Yeah, were you stepping in on this council game?
Yes, as a board member of the African American Club, I'm just relaying.
I just like saying council meeting.
Okay, I like that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next is P12, request for a local food establishment, NFE permit from Williams Little Pancakes of 109 Woodlawn Avenue, or Woodland Avenue in Cranston, Rhode Island. Is the applicant here with us?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Hello, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Ryan Berge. I am one of the operators of Lulu's Little Pancakes. It's owned by myself and my fiance, Adriana Webster. This is our first year operating. We actually just opened a couple of months ago, and we are invited to participate in the PVD food truck events. And we are also working on a couple of other events in the town of Warren through the end of the summer. So we would like to apply for the mobile food permit.
Very good. And you're serving little pancakes?
Yep, little mini pancakes with the most delicious toppings you've ever had.
Sounds good. And your other permit from the state is in order?
Yep.
Any questions from the council?
Make a motion to approve the mobile food truck permit for little pancakes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have P13, P14, and then I will ask that we move forward NB1 to right after P14, all pertain to the same applicant. P13 is a request for an outside class F beverage license from the Impossible Dream Foundation. Daniel Francis, you are here with us this evening. There is an event on August 1 at the Dream American Club. It is the Impossible Dream fundraiser. So, let's get that.
It's a motorcycle ride. Plan, it's hard to plan how many you're gonna have actually for the day of the event. It's, you know, who's not going, depends on weather, depends on a lot. We could have as many as 200 motorcycles. And maybe 250 people.
That's very high.
But it's already happened 27 years. We've raised 27 years. It went to Portsmouth 1 year, went to the Temple Key in Middletown a few years, and now we're trying to keep it in town. They leave out of the gun club all the time. We're leaving the gun club, go up to over and whatnot, come back down to Soldier and Barrington, and then come up people to the club. And roughly, it'll last from like probably one, they'll get to the club around 1 o'clock, and it'll last till 1 o'clock. And with that many people, we don't want being jammed up inside the building, so they want to have temporary beer bar outside.
You're gonna be setting up a tent at all?
There'll be a tent there, yeah.
You need to get the fire on.
Think you should
Check that out.
Yes, spoke already, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, it looks like the entertainment up to 12:35. I'll make a motion to pass P13 and P14.
Second.
For a class F beverage license and 1 day entertainment license.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. And then we will discussion and action regarding a request for a donation of $150 from the Impossible Dream Foundation to Chronic Ill Children. So,
Question approved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Good luck. Enjoy.
Next, we have correspondence. These items are received and filed with no other action taken unless any member of the council would like to report any of these.
No, I would just like to make sure that the solicitor does get to look over the communication from RIDOT on streetlights to make sure that he legally agrees with it all.
Yes, I've actually been in touch with the legal counsel for RIDOT on this matter, and we're proceeding along.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a timeline on this? Do we have a timeline on this?
There's no definite timeline, but they want to move on it.
Good.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's interesting, after we purchased them, after we do all the legwork, we did everything we did, now they want to come in.
Yes.
To dim light there, shining on the issue. Yeah.
Okay. So, old business, OB1, continuation of discussion and action regarding recommendations and requests from the American Indian Study Committee. This has been continued for May 27th of 2021, the special meeting. At that time, we approved a host of recommendations from the American Indian Study Committee, and they're including a land acknowledgement statement. Oh, thank you. Just put it up There was concern from the solicitor that the language be sound and not put us in any vulnerable position. And with his work and edits, I will read the recommended words that he has presented to us. Pokanoket Land Acknowledgement Statement. Welcome to Sowers, the ancestral home of the Pokanoket people for 10,000 years prior to settler colonization. We pay tribute to the tribal elders and people of this community who serve and continue to serve as stewards of the lands, waterways, and waterways of Rhode Island and Massachusetts. We recognize the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous people and their traditional territories. We acknowledge that our community was a part of the larger ancestral home of the Pokanoket Nation. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Pokanoket people for the benefit of the lands and water of themselves.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion?
I just, did the committee approve this? Just, thank you.
You can just introduce yourself and your address.
I'm Walter, chair of the committee, and we're very happy with this thing. And we did run it by the tribe, and they're more than happy. Like the new language.
Right, yeah, that was a concern that all of the concerned tribes, or all of the represented tribes, did all agree that this language is appropriate.
I gotta tell you, after all the research that I did, I only made a few tweaks.
Yeah.
This is pretty much substantially similar to what the original one was, but I did a lot of legal research after this. Dr. Weeks kind enough to send me even more articles on it. So, from a legal standpoint, I think you're fine on this.
And historically, 400 years. Think of that. 400 years to the month of Winslow coming to Warren. We have a land recognition. Interesting.
Well, thank you. Thank you to all
Congratulations.
who worked on this so diligently for so long, and for the product, I think, is really wonderful and timely and about time.
Yeah, we want to thank you for the passing the proclamation earlier as well. And then I wanted to hand out this, everybody, this was the language that we have agreed on with the Hall of Fame organization.
It's not on it. It's not on it.
The stuff that's in the back of the room. And so we've agreed with them on this language, and the tribe is happy with this language. All the same people are happy.
It's going to, did we have a motion and a second on that?
We did.
So Hall of Fame leadership, is then intends to put this silent in the case. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if this is on our.
Yeah, you can't be discussing this.
Oh, we can read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not voting on this. It's just, this was part of the whole study, but thank you for presenting this to us. Appreciate that.
And we just wanted to let you know we have our last meeting coming up, the committee on July 27th, 6:30 over the Tuesday Fire Station. We're meeting for the first time since we've been in business. And so we're happy to have everybody come and join us. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to work on all of this with the group. It was a really good group, and really, we're really pleased. And so accepting of our recommendations. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the updated language of the Pokanoket Land Acknowledgement Statement. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. New business. Down in one, And B2, discussion and action to advertise a vacancy or vacancies on the Charter Review Commission. So with us this evening, we have Al Galvin, who is the chairperson of the Charter Review Commission. There's been one resignation from that group. And it is a group that has been working diligently together through some very challenging times, working virtually and trying to accomplish a lot. And Mr. Gallinelli, I'd like to hear from you as if you have any thoughts on how we would move forward to replace our finding members.
Yes, there was one member who got a job outside the state. He can't have to fill his meetings, even though it was Zoom. I'm so glad starting next month that we will be in person. I wasn't a computer wizard, but Zoom is tough. We've got some things accomplished under the charter so far. We still haven't met with all the department heads. We plan on doing that in the next month or two before I sent the notice out to the police chief, fire chief, and the highway superintendent. Going pretty good, but I think it'd be a lot better once we meet in person. We're looking obviously to replace one person who left, and I know it has to go out for advertising. I thought we could go right off the list that we had, but what the solicitor says it has to be advertised. I did talk to the solicitor for the meeting and asked about an alternate, but the charter doesn't allow that. But Councilmember DePasquale has said, why don't we look, and I wrote a note down here. I guess the planning board, they have alternates. Zoning board, okay, zoning board. And we may look at in the charter about if this happens again, someone remove that. It's a 9-person charter, but maybe have 11 people, 2 alternates. So in the event someone does drop out, we're not playing catch up, because whoever comes on now, we have to go over everything that we've talked about, some of the changes that we've already made, bring before the council next year.
Right. Well, with the council's discussion and decision on how to move forward with this, I would imagine we will advertise and receive applicants interview them next month and make a decision on who will take that place. And hopefully we'll have a number of strong applicants and we can keep those at the ready should there be another resignation, and those additional applicants can kind of be like the alternates or potential alternates.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope there's no more dropouts.
Yeah.
It is very lengthy.
Yeah. Well, aside from yourself and the member John Bento, we were the only 2 actually elected. The rest were write-ins, and while we appreciate people taking that initiative, it would be nice to have somebody come forward who's really interested in contributing. So.
I would make a motion to advertise the vacancy for the Charter Review Commission. It would be brought to next month's meeting for discussion and possible appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any further discussion?
No.
Ayes have it. Ayes, did you vote?
Aye.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
NB3, discussion and action regarding the use of sidewalks other than by pedestrians traveling on foot. This is an agenda item brought forward by Councilman Kalenda. We have I will let Councilman Kalenda talk about why he asked this to be an agenda item.
Thank you, Madam President. So I shared this with the manager, I shared it with the solicitor, I had a conversation with the police chief before I see the meeting. I routinely travel around town and I see these motorized bicycles also traveling around town, which I feel is great. Until the other day when I was coming down 103 and one came out of my blind side and I was like, well, the person's traveling pretty fast. Then I realized it was a motorized bicycle and it was zipping in and out of traffic and it jumped up on the sidewalk and jumped off the sidewalk and pulled into a parking lot. And I'm like, it's probably a concern. There is a state statute that addresses that no bicycles should ride on sidewalks. I'm open-minded to it. When you see a 3-year-old riding a tricycle on the sidewalk, I feel that's completely different. Use of the sidewalk with somebody on a bicycle than an individual on a motorized bicycle. So I felt it would be appropriate to bring it to the council if we could handle this at the local level. I have a copy of what the police department uses for their parking tickets. And down the bottom, they have a town code violation. So we created an ordinance that would fit our need for this issue. If they see a violation and they so choose to enforce it by issuing a violation on a parking ticket, it would go to our municipal court and we can handle it all here in the town. And if they choose to just use it as information only, I'm supportive of that too. But before we end up with a serious crash, I don't want to use the fatal word, I think we need to probably address it because there are more and more of these motorized bicycles showing up in our community. And I would also recommend that we come up with signage that would be posted in certain spots around the town that addresses if you're using a motorcycle, motorized bicycle, please obey the traffic laws and ride appropriately in the street with traffic and, you know, obey all the stuff, laws and that abide by any other vehicle that's traveling. So that's basically all I have.
Very good.
Marge
Yeah,
has a question.
a business owner on Water Street, I've seen a lot of motorized vehicles on or e-bikes and other motorized vehicles on sidewalks, and it's patently unsafe. Little kids on bikes is one thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the weekend warriors out pedaling down at breakneck speeds on sidewalks is just not safe. So,
Next question.
you may.
So this is just e-bikes, doesn't address bicycles. Because
Correct.
bicycles also should not be riding on.
So there is a state statute, and I think so it's been talking about. And when I was attending the academy 1,000 years ago with the police chief, prior to that, there is a state statute that addresses that bicycles are not supposed to ride on the sidewalk. Is it enforceable? You know, and law enforcement has other things to do, but they're supposed to know that. And unless they're using it to traverse traffic. It's either solicitor.
I'm sorry, but I did speak with Councilman Kalenda on this. He brings up a very good point. Section 18-3 of the code addresses use of sidewalks. But to your point, Councilman Hackert, this is, the reference to it is 1967. There was a major update of the Warren Code in 1967, but it basically reincorporated a lot of the older provisions. This section addresses the use of animals, horses on sidewalks. So I think what you're looking at here is an attempt to update this part of the town code for current modes of conveyances. That's why it was on the agenda for modes of transportation other than by pedestrians on foot. So I do think it's timely, and there are some things that need to be taken a look at. This ordinance was appropriate for it in its day, but now you need to take a good look at it because there are other modes of conveyance. It predates that, but it's any person who shall ride, drive, or lead any horse or cattle. And no carriages.
Baby carriages?
Horse drawn.
Horse drawn.
I will make a motion, we refer section 18-1,
3.
18-3 to the solicitor, who would be other appropriate?
The transfer, the traffic advisory.
Yes, the traffic advisory committee.
Yes, and manager.
Tab.
And the manager.
In the finance director.
So we have a motion to refer to the traffic advisory board plus the manager and solicitor updates of the ordinance that pertains to what is appropriate and not appropriate on sidewalks.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And before, discussion and action regarding policy for public meeting participation in accordance with the open meetings law requirements. Okay, so this is pretty bit more timely topic this evening, given our technical difficulties and what will be and won't be appropriate. So Manager Michaud, if you could just update the council and the audience as to where we stand right now and what latitude we have moving forward to develop a good policy.
Sure, we're in a little bit of an unexpected position. The legislature was working all session on amendments to the open meetings law to incorporate virtual participation. There were many hearings on the matter. There's a working group that was formed. I attended lots of virtual sessions, listening in on the progress, and we all thought we knew where it was going, and then it went nowhere. So the legislature adjourned and they took no action, which was very unexpected. So where that leaves us is that currently we're in a hybrid meeting right now, which is allowed through the governor's executive order. That executive order currently expires on July 23rd. It is possible that the governor could rescind the order sooner than July 23rd, but it is very much a certainty that the governor will not renew that order. So we've been told that directly by the governor's office. So therefore, as of July 23rd, all board, commission, and council members will need to be present in person for any public meeting in order for it to be in compliance with open meetings law. So that there will not be any exceptions for the attendance of the board, commission, or council that is holding the meeting, other than those that already exist within the law and existed prior to COVID, which is, one, you have a disability which has been certified by the Governor's Council on Disabilities that prevents you from attending, or two, you're a member of the armed services who's been deployed. Other than those two exemptions, there's no exemption for members. So that's something the council doesn't have a decision point on because that's the law. However, we've been advised by the Attorney General's office that it's possible that the town could make further provisions to use the technology to create greater participation by the public or greater transparency. But they've advised strongly that the town solicitor should be the one who advises the community directly on what's appropriate or allowable within the community. One thing that I think is clearly allowable that I would recommend that the council make a policy to continue is to continue the live streaming. While we had a few glitches this evening, it generally does work well. And I think at least for the three main regulatory boards, being the town council, the planning board, and the zoning board, it makes perfect sense to continue streaming these meetings live while we have the equipment and the ability to do so. Where it gets a little more complicated is this two-way participation, the participation by the public in the public meeting via the virtual platforms. And there's a lot of questions that have come up that have been asked, and as I said, the Attorney General has advised that we should work with our solicitor to determine what's compliant with our local ordinances and what's compliant with law. And the questions I came up with that I have is, one, is it allowable to have petitioners present virtually? If someone has a petition, can they present virtually? Can the public comment virtually as part of an advertised public hearing? Can sworn testimony be offered virtually? And if virtual participation is allowed, what happens when technology fails, either on the town side or on the participant side? And that was something that's been discussed widely. What happens if one person's internet goes out? Do you now have a valid meeting because that person couldn't get online because their internet was out? So I think these are all important questions that need to be answered, and I think it would be advisable for the council to have a good, strong written policy on these issues so that every board and commission is crystal clear on the expectations for the running of these meetings. And I would further suggest that perhaps you should direct myself and the town solicitor to work together on a draft written document that would come back to the council for your adoption, clearly outlining the parameters. But if the council has preferences, it would be great if you could share those preferences so that we could research the allowability and incorporate those into anything that's developed.
Very good. Yeah, I think this evening would say that our technology isn't to a level that we're able to have a really smooth experience for ourselves and for anybody who's watching. It would be nice if the tech was really seamless and we could have somebody appearing virtually who might have some barrier to appearing here in person, whether it be health or traveling or whatever it may be, or better. But this is not a smooth operation that we had going on tonight. The YouTube stream, I think, was an anomaly. That hasn't been a problem. I think sometimes the sound at home, having listened to a number of or watched a number of planning and zoning meetings during COVID via YouTube, sometimes the syncing of it would be a little bit strange, but I don't think that's on us. I think that's just the World Wide Web. But this hybrid situation is challenging, and I, for one, don't enjoy the placing that sort of negative experience on those who are here in the chamber with us, and whoever might be out there trying to communicate. I don't know what everybody else has to say, but I think the two of you sitting down and developing some policy for discussion makes sense.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to keep the live streaming. I'm a firm believer, once the governor lifts the mandate, you should go back live. You want to come to the council, you come to the council. Except in a rare extreme circumstance, say somebody gets into a car accident the day before they're supposed to come and give testimony, then maybe make an exception for that. But other than that, Dick Person, this is the town's meeting place. You want to go do business with the town, you come to the town's meeting place. That's what I mean, the virtual was great with the COVID, but it's just so impersonal. You don't get the same interaction with the person when they're up there talking to you. So I would want everything in person except for a major, like a very rare limited service.
I can tell you the main concern among solicitors is just what you're talking about here now. And that is the limitations of technology that's available for communities. Because when you talk about what Kate had just said, what happens if you allow for, in a public hearing, the public to participate remotely? Somebody's internet is down. Does that obviate the public hearing? Those are the issues that need to be taken a look at. And there are limitations to the technology that are available, not only in this community, but other communities too. That's what we need to look at. And that's why we want to come back to you with a written policy.
Yeah, I mean, this evening, a few of the applicants, the NFEs were, one was from Providence, one was from Woonsocket, one was from Cranston. So the opportunity for them to appear virtually was nice for them, but that would show a little more eagerness or seriousness about their desire to operate in town. They were here live in person with us, and as much as it's nice to extend that courtesy, I don't think it's working very well.
So I agree, Vice President, that the streaming is important. I mean, I think we should encourage participation as much as possible. And I think that does that. But as far as everything else goes, I think it's too much of a liability. It'd be really nice if we take public comment and nothing else, because then people that, especially people that say shy about, coming to a meeting, can call it in. I'm not sure if we'd end up with a conflict there if there was a glitch, but I think adding that option into the mix might be helpful. So that's.
Any other comments or suggestions for the solicitor or manager? Alrighty, so we have a motion to direct them to develop some policy language.
So
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if anybody wants to communicate with them, just send an email.
Suggestions?
If I assume
NB5, discussion and action and authorization for the town council president to sign the agreement between the town of Warren and the Warren Land Conservation Trust regarding kayak craft at Maple Road. Representing the Land Conservation Trust is Jenny Flanagan, who has a letter she would like to read in anticipation of calling this.
Hi, Jenny Flanagan, 46 Washington Street. I have read the petition opposing the kayak craft agreement. I'm really sorry that our neighbors were upset. Candidly, have not heard of the extent of problems this weekend. Land Trust absolutely wants to work with our neighbors to make things better. We are devoted to conserving, caring for, providing public access to our town's natural lands and waters. We will work with our neighbors, the town council, the police, to see what we can do to reduce the speeding, the illegal parking, the littering, partying, and other activities. If we made worse already existing problems, that was not our intent. We hope that by providing parking on our site, we had hoped that by providing parking on the site, we would remove the problem of parking on the street. I will reach out to every one of our neighbors who signed the petition personally and talk to them to get their input. And I respectfully request that the kayak rack agreement be postponed to a later council meeting while the Land Trust works with the neighbors to address the concerns.
Please bring this back to us. Please don't consider it a dead issue. I would think that the majority, 99% of the people who drive to Maple Road live in Twisted. 99% of the people who have been caught speeding in Twisted live in Twisted. So all of these concerns are great because they represent problems that are out in Twisted. I hope you don't in any way continue to think that the Land Trust involvement there exacerbated any of these issues, because it didn't. And I look forward to the day that we can create parking and create a public access.
Parking is there. Parking is already
Ordained, because all of our public access points don't have parking. And that's a great way to prevent people from going there. So we're working on that, and that's what Harbor Commission is doing. That's what Mr. DeSisto is working on. And I look forward to the day that we can have an agreement that may not be happy to the neighbors, but it'll benefit the town of Warren, because at the bottom of Bridge Street, there isn't a sign that says go away if you don't live here. So I think that all the people who have this opinion, they own it, it's theirs, it's valid. Why? Because it's theirs.
We want to be good neighbors.
I know you do. I know you do. Good luck with that. I'm 1/5 of the people here who try to deal with the entire town. And I've said enough. I think you understand where I'm coming from. So I look forward to your continued support on this. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question? How many parking spaces do you have?
We have 2 spaces.
2 spaces.
As well as the bike rack.
Okay.
Once the kayak rack gets in, it might end up being 3 spaces.
Okay.
We have rules that say there's no parking on the street.
I understand.
So we've been explicit about what we want to happen there.
Yeah.
And we'll work with the neighbors to try to control activities that are not on our property. I think the belief is that we're attracting nuisance. We don't want to do that.
With 2 parking spaces, they're considered that a nuisance.
I will make a motion, we continue this to the next regularly scheduled town council meeting. And I also want to make sure that the police chief gets a letter, a copy of that petition for their complaint. Possibly look into it and see if maybe it's something we can do to help out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and we have a second, and for myself, I would say that for the 6 kayak rack plus parking plus bike rack at a public water access spot, it sounds like a wonderful asset to the entire town. I appreciate the fact that the Land Trust would like to make the attempt to build a better relationship with the neighborhood out there. but it would seem that the tone of the council was very much in favor of moving forward with this. So good luck with that, that endeavor, and we'll be back with this next month. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Town manager, discussion and action to approve replacement of 275 lighting fixtures at the wastewater treatment facility with high efficiency fixtures, net cost of $87,606. Budget impact. Ms. Easter?
Yes, there's a memo and backup in your packet that details the work that's proposed. This is part of the scope of the original wastewater treatment facility upgrade project that you remember was cut back because we had the bid came in significantly higher than was anticipated. However, through the energy manager that's been provided to us through the Office of Energy Resources, she's been able to come up with a plan, whereas all of these light fixtures will be replaced by a licensed contractor who's on the state master price agreement, and is a National Grid preferred vendor. And as such, through the work with National Grid, the payment for the lighting fixtures would come through the savings. So it would be an on-bill repayment. So there is no budget impact to the town. There would be no additional costs to the town. It would be paid back through the existing bills, through the reduction in the energy usage on existing bills. So it's my opinion that this is a really good deal for us. You know, we get the fixtures, we get the work done, we don't have to pay out of pocket for it. And
plus positive environmental.
Right.
Yeah, right. There is our last page is
I have a question, if I could.
okay.
Can we have motion sensor, because although the lights are somewhat downward facing, they're on all the time. It's not an energy issue, in my opinion, as much as a nuisance. When you're coming in on the water, it's very bright. When you look at the night sky over there, it's very bright. So, you know, to have the tanks illuminated when needed, fine. But, yeah.
So these fixtures are only within the operations building. So this is not the exterior lighting.
Well, can you put that note down and see if they can address that? Because I've gotten complaints from people that are wondering why they're on all the time.
Yeah, we can certainly address that with the energy manager. We are working on other issues related to the operations building, specifically the windows and the heating and cooling system. The heating system is really outdated, and the cooling system is window units, which is not ideal. So we expect to come back to the council shortly with a plan for completing those upgrades to the operations building.
I'm wondering if they keep those lights on for safety protocols.
I'm not sure, so we would have to
I
bring
mean,
them.
the only thing I can speak on is back when I was still working at our water treatment plant. They had people driving. It was not working for 2 years later or something. It was a dump truck. So I'm just wondering if now the protocols for those treatment plants require that.
Yeah, could be.
It could, you know, Joe, you're right on the point. I'm like, it doesn't make sense why they haven't been off.
So the motion sensor would satisfy the safety issue.
Well, it's because it's such a pretty plant.
Yeah.
You don't have to see it. But yeah, we can definitely raise that issue and ask the question, and we'll see what the answer is, and we'll get back to you with that.
Thank you.
But for the petition in question, we're just asking for permission for the operations building.
Did we make a motion?
Yes, we did. Yes, exactly.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Guys have it. Thank you. Finance director, revenues and expenditures. It's fun. Good evening. Good evening. Robert.
We're gonna put you on TV.
We'll put you right here. We've been waiting for this moment.
Use the microphone, please.
As long as we can hear you. Okay.
You press the bottom.
Good evening.
Hello.
That's better.
Good evening. I have provided the June report to you. That is the, also that is the last one of the fiscal year 21. But that is not, final list, because we continue to receive the revenue and expenditures to June 30. But at this point, I don't foresee that we have anything unexpected, and I believe that we continue to stay on track. Where we like to be. Yeah. Any questions for our finance director?
Well, that is over. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, fire chief, discussion and action regarding awarding bid from Sigcom Corporation, single source provider, for the purchase of the TRX50 emergency reporting system in the amount of $69,954 from capital account 01-2021-033.
That should read 65,900.
Okay. What is this? What does this system do?
This is the receiving component located in the dispatch center for all businesses, schools, et cetera, that have fire alarm system with the transmitter that transmits dispatch automatically. And not all fire alarm systems have that in town. The ones that do have a transmitter, large places of assembly, large business, schools, et cetera. So this is the receiving component in dispatch. It's slowly becoming not serviceable, so we're planning ahead to replace it. It's TRX50, which is the newest and greatest. Sigcom is a single source provider.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You guys have it? Planning and community development. Discussion and action regarding approval of a service contract to provide fiber-based broadband connections to Government Center and Town Hall. Mr. Rulli.
Madam President, I'm going to ask that we amend that request. I gave you a memo that outlined that I3 had come in subsequent to Cox and offered the same or maybe a little higher level of service for less money. In conversation with the solicitor and the manager, we have some concern that we may not have followed all the solicitation rules, even though that came in unsolicited. So what I'm going to request is that we put it out to bid for 7 days, and assuming that the numbers that we've been provided from both vendors are the same, that you authorize us to move forward with the lowest bid.
Motion advertised.
Second.
We should put the whole thing about motion to advertise and authorizing it to go with the lowest bid. We need to put that all in that one motion so you can do it without having to.
What if another company comes in?
For 7 days. Was the
Well, what if another company comes in?
Lowest bid.
Be a little bit.
Lowest bid.
That's what you want, right?
Yep.
Yes, you're correct.
Lowest bid with the same level of service. I mean, we don't believe anybody other than Cox and I3 have fiber.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Right. Number 2 is approval and authorization to extend the memorandum of understanding for the Warren Gateway project by and between the town of Warren and GC Warren Gateway Realty LLC until February 28th of 2022. It's a 6-month extension. And that is then connected to the third item on the agenda. Again, Mr. Ruthley.
Yeah, Madam President, as you know, you authorized me to put the developer on notice that if he wasn't fulfilling the requirements of the memorandum of understanding within 90 days, that the council could terminate the contract. I can report that there has been progress made, significant progress with respect to the financing. The solicitor and the manager and I have participated in meetings with Commerce RI, bond counsel, and we're satisfied that there is a funding mechanism. Tying into item number 3, we've talked about the potential of using tax increment financing in order to fulfill the requirements of the state statute. We would need to create a special revitalization district because we don't have a redevelopment authority. So the request is that you direct me to bring to the planning board that they make a recommendation in terms of creating these special revitalization districts. At the advice of bond counsel, it would be, those special revitalization districts would not necessarily be limited just to the National Grid site. If we wanted to create one on Metacom, we would create that boundary. And in discussion yesterday with the manager, we might even want to consider expanding the boundary for the area of the Gateway Center to include the two corner properties on Main and Water, and perhaps extending down to 99 Water Street, with the idea that in the future we expect two things would happen, that with Tourister not being rental anymore, and if it was to go to condos, it'd be significant property tax increase. That increment could be used for public infrastructure improvements, not just in that area, but anywhere in town. In that hopefully the amount of development that we're seeing potentially at this site would make the owners of those two properties perhaps think about redeveloping them in a more appealing way. And then, as I said, I mean, we're moving forward with the Metacom, so council believes that including that would be appropriate. So I would bring it to the planning board for the July meeting and come back with their recommendation in July, so we could have public hearing to amend, to create the special revitalization district and make the map amendment.
Come back in August.
August, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You're speaking about that tax revitalization.
Tax increment financing.
Yeah, that would be, how would that be, that wouldn't go into the general fund?
The surplus, I mean, so we're going to need to have a workshop to work through the mechanics. So you're all up to speed on how tax increment financing works. That's up for you to decide. So if, you know, there's an allocation that we say, just for hypothetical, that $1 million is going to go into a fund for infrastructure improvements, but within the tax increment financing, we raise $1.2 million, then that extra 200,000 could go into the general fund, or it can go to another fund that you direct it to go to.
So it's a restricted revenue account?
Yes.
And then if anything ever changed with the school system, when we find that out immediately, we would be tied to that legality and no access to that money.
When you have a TIF, that's still called TIF. If you have a TIF district, tax increment financing goes to infrastructure for that particular district. So it's considered to be a revitalization and redevelopment tool for this, and actually is almost a financing instrument.
Right, but it's legally for that entity. It's not in the general fund. It's a district.
Correct. So that district.
So a perfect example could be a change in the school system, and we find out, you know, in 45 days, and we've had something like this committed previously, we don't have access to the funds. It would be in that.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I mean, if we were big, we'll have that discussion in the future, but that's just was immediate for me to start thinking about. I'm always worried about our schools.
I don't know, want to make a motion?
Yeah, we could start with the motion for
I
the
will make a
extension.
motion that we extend the contract with the Warren Gateway project. It's for 6 months. And I would also, in that motion, I would also, that we direct the planner and community development director to initiate an amendment presentation to the council for the Warren zoning ordinance and the Warren zoning map to create a special revitalization district.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Good work.
Continuing on.
Next, number 4, we have discussion and action regarding non-utilization tax notice. Mr. Needham, Mr. Rulli?
Yeah, I'll take it. So as you know, we adopted a non-utilization tax. I tracked off the state legislation. In June, I put 3 property owners on notice that the town intended to levy a non-utilization tax because the properties had been vacant for over 2 years and no marketing activity that we were provided. They failed to contact me.
I shared a memo with you in terms of what the amount is. That's what the formula from the state allows. So we are requesting that you authorize the finance director to issue a tax bill on those properties.
Anthony, you in good standing on that? Did you get to review this? See what's going on?
I have, it's in the ordinary course. I'm sure that there'll be litigation after this because the bill's gonna be quite large.
I will make a motion that we.
Excuse me, Councilman Hurd,
Oh,
do you
just-
have a question?
I did have a question. So these amounts are in excess of the normal taxes.
Correct.
Because when this first came to us, I was wondering how these numbers are gonna work and if it would be, how should I say, substantial enough to raise
Get their attention.
level of attention. Thank you. And obviously they are, it's fairly substantial numbers. Thank you.
Continue.
I will make a motion that we authorize the finance director to issue the non-utilization bills as presented tonight by the planning director.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. And finally, discussion and action regarding Market to Medicom workshop of July 14th, 2021 at 7 p.m. That's tomorrow night.
Yeah, I've filled your inboxes with a lot of information with respect to this. This is the second workshop that we're having as part of the Market to Medicom initiative. Some interesting things is, that we're going to discuss tomorrow night is, different scenarios looking at 2035, 2050, and then going out to 2100, but just based on current projections, the amount of property loss and revenue that could occur in the next 14 years of 2035. So just FYI, we're going to have it in person. We will stream it as well, but that effort is getting a lot of attention beyond Warren.
See you tomorrow night, right?
Right.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.